This is the BBC Home Service. Good morning, everybody. Here is the first news for today, Sunday the 3rd, read by Frederick Allen. The 4th anniversary of our entry into the war opens with more news of German defeats in the west, east, and south. The Belgian frontier has now been crossed by 2 American spearheads.
And it was on the 18th of December, 1943, that you were born. The label on your cot said Keith Richards. Born in a hospital near Dartford, England.
Very comfortable. Thousands of babies were born the same day, and you are one of the lucky ones. You're alive, you're healthy, you've got parents who will take care of you. Let's hope the luck lasts. All the same, you're in danger. You're in danger, Keith. For around you is being fought the worst war ever known. When you joined us, we'd been fighting for exactly 4 years. We'd kept on at it to save our skins. And also because we had a feeling deep down inside us that we were fighting for you. For you and all the other babies. You didn't know anything about this, of course. How could you? But you were part of the war even before you were born. What are you going to say about it? And what are you going to do? Are you going to have greed for money or power, ousting decency from the world as they have in the past? Or are you going to make the world a different place? You and the other babies.
Bombs were falling. Doris, my mum, and the family, everybody's scrambling for the shelter. According to Mother, the sirens were going off as I was emerging into the world. Far more dangerous than I realized at the time. I was ear witness.
Again, don't know when, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day.
I knew nothing really much about that, except that I have a complete hatred of people like Adolf Hitler. You know, because he dumped one on my crib. And that is unforgivable. That's where he lost the war. He came home to a destroyed house. I wasn't there, of course. I mean, I was smart enough not to be at home at the time, apparently. Luftwaffe pilots got chicken halfway up the river, turned around and dropped their bombs on Dartford. They weren't going to go any further into London. It's not something that you dwell on because it's just what happened to you. And you managed to squeak out the other end. You didn't get hit. Every experience that you go through from the minute you're born has quite a hefty weight on it. You're hearing things, you're taking in information, and you're especially feeling other people's emotions. That does have an effect, even though you don't actually remember it. If I walk down a hotel corridor and there's some old war movie playing and I hear it through the door and I hear that siren, the hair on the back of my neck still goes up. That sound, hence Street Fighter now. was a warmth amongst people. Wartime's tough for everybody. Dad enlisted, you know, got blown up in the army. He got more to D-Day soon after. Mum was driving bread vans, and she had never driven before in her life. God knows how she made it. You know, here's another fucking loaf of Hovis.
At 2:41 a.m., Grand Admiral Dönitz, the designated head of the German state, signed the act of unconditional surrender.
The minute the war was over, Churchill was voted out. Fundamental socialistic new world.
Labour puts first things first. Security from war. Food, houses, clothing, employment, leisure and social security for all must come before the claims of the few. We have shown that we can organize the resources of the country to win the war. We can do the same in peace.
There was a feeling that there was a need for change, and you kind of grew up with that. My dad's side of the family was staunch socialists, the Richards, apparently arrived out of the West Country with a wooden shovel. Real labor. My grandfather was a mate of Keir Hardie. One of the Strong Arm Brigade. And my grandmother was a mayor of Walthamstow on the Labour ticket.
Babies have been born lately. They've had to get busy building extra schools. There's one going up in Dartford. You'll go there one day and meet Mick.
I lived in different parts of Dartford. I don't say I had any real affection for the joint. Dartford is basically criminal, in essence. It's a stick-up joint, and it still is. They have a tunnel now. And guys with uniforms who take the money. But in the old days, you had to come down East Hill, Dartford in the valley. There'd be a bunch of guys for the stagecoaches. They would routinely have a bag and toss it aside, the toll. Because if they didn't do that, there'd be a flare shot up, they'd stop you, then rob you, big time. It's the same thing now, you know, it's just legal.
Tell me, honey, what will I do when I'm hungry, thirsty too?
I grew up in an adult house. There's just me, Mum and Dad.
A good boy does this. A bad boy does that. Mother likes good boys. She doesn't like bad boys. The trouble is that it isn't always pleasant to have to be a good boy.
father, oh, Bertie, bless his heart. The little guy, I mean, only about 5'5", built like a brick shithouse.
A poor man's made out of muscle and blood. Muscle and blood.
Strong and an ox, man. A lot of energy, you know, physical energy.
Strong, you load 16.
I got a lot of that from him.
Another day older and deeper in debt. Saint.
I had to do leapfrogs, do this, dig in the potatoes.
Well, you've been digging in my potatoes.
He wanted to teach me certain, little bits of horticulture that still come in handy.
Well, you've been digging in my potatoes.
Even though he'd got his leg blown off in the war, he recovered from that incredibly well. There was a massive scar that went right up the thigh. It always fascinated me as a kid. What's that, Dad? And I said, the war. I don't want to talk about it, boy. You got the picture. When I was growing up, he played it straight, you know. He worked for General Electric, Osram's, making tubes. His mentality came from the Depression in the 30s. Well, you got a job, you keep it. At the weekend, he'd have a pint, blah, blah. There was a certain distance between us, but I also knew he had a very deep heart, and I also knew that he had a problem expressing it. I mean, I got very few, well done, son. But then I realized that he's working so damn hard, man, he didn't have time for it. My mum, on the other hand, was very subversive.
Out on the plains, down near Santa Fe, I met a cowboy right in the range one day.
From her remarks and her piss-taking, I got some of my humor from.
A most peculiar cowboy song. It was a ditty.
Mother loved to sing around the house. She was like a warbler. She knew the dials. She could go from like the light program, Ella Fitzgerald, to the home service.
Takes to the tango, to the tango.
Louis Armstrong.
Really get the feeling of romance. Let's do
the third program.
And watch the door, and in between I drink
Sarah Vaughan.
black coffee.
Pretty much fill the day with good music in my ear all the time.
Hand-me-down broom.
So I grew up with this, like, music is the staff of life. Sometimes I remember feeling a little jealous with other families and kids that had brothers and sisters. They had somebody to connect with. Adult problems. Mum and Dad arguing about the rent. Jesus Christ, get me out of here. When you grew up, you didn't really think about it. You just played on bomb sites, great playgrounds of the time. You'd find bits of shrapnel and, you could make a deal on a bit of shrapnel or a cartridge case, In lieu of money, you swap it. What I remember about my favorite bomb hole was some farmer had put out to pasture a white mare. A beautiful old horse, put out knacker's yard, kind of. We used to bump each other up, and she'd let us ride, and she'd trot us around the bomb site. I know it's a bomb hole, and it nearly killed me. I also remember the white horse, and his gentleness. We were just lucky, glad to get a house eventually. At least that's my feeling from Mum and Dad. At last, we have a council house. Horrible place, man. It only just been built, but it was like the cement weren't dry. Suddenly you're with this bunch of people you don't know, and you all have to sort of form a community of some kind. So, yeah, I won't say that you felt like particularly secure there, but you did feel that everybody else was in the same bloody boat. We used to bicycle to the bank of the Thames. We used to go down there, very dangerous area, very fascinating. Saw my first dead man there. One day we got to this pillbox. A lot of flies buzzing.
Buzz a while.
There, this tramp. So we got left. We thought nothing of it. Now I sort of say, why didn't we sort of say something? Woo! No, it's like it never happened. Saturday morning pictures. Big deal, big deal. Yeah, down Dartford, going on.
Happy trails to
Roy Rogers. I gotta say, yeah, if I ever had a hero, that's got to be the man. Look, he's riding this beautiful Palomino. Right? He's got guns, and he's got a guitar. And he whips everybody's ass, you know, bum, 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 bum. I'd like to be Roy.
I've got a real big one, so get your spinning wheel in shape.
My mom's side of my family, the Duprees of Spitalfields, they were master weavers of silk and brocade, apparently in the 17th and 18th century. Fusionists, basically all performers, one kind or another. Very strong personalities, a very ribald sense of humor. They didn't really give a damn. Maybe it just runs in the Dupree family. To go and visit the Duprees was like going to another world compared to like the day-to-day grind. I had the funniest bunch of aunties, 7 of them. Aunt Joanna, she was really larger than life. She was fill the room when she walked in. It was all perfume and makeup and wonderful. Oh, my dear, and she was really over the top. A real thespian. I mean, most people visit their aunties and it's the most boring thing in the world, right? To me, visiting aunties was like opening up doors. There's Gus, me grandfather, right? Yep, off the Seven Sisters Road, 7 daughters. I'm with the wife, that makes 8. So he was in a house full of women all the time, which is probably one of the reasons that made him and me so close. The Duprees and the Riches are absolutely two sides of a coin, man. They never got along. Thank God, Mum and Dad did. Hence, here I am. I really enjoyed summer holidays with Mum and Dad. I loved to watch my Mum and Dad relax for a few days in the goddamn year. Because otherwise it was grind, you know, work, work, work.
Ain't got a Cadillac or a big automobile. I'm just a little guy, not a big time wheel. But I can throw my loving
2 weeks a year.
If we live out of date, we don't care, we're a little bit late. Gonna make it.
And 3 days are spent cycling.
We don't care, we don't mind.
Mum and Dad are pumping away. I'm in a little iron crate on the back of a tandem.
All the way to September.
Yeah, they left me too long with the western sun on the back of my neck. Oh, I got sunburned. Stop, please. I'm throwing up. Yeah, toughen up, pal.
I'm a rocking bicycle that's built for two.
These things, I remember it well. There was another village right next called Horsehands that had disappeared. It was no longer inhabitable, and it had collapsed into the sea. But for a young kid, it was kind of fascinating to look at. There's other kids down there. I mean, I make friends pretty easy, you know. I used to get the accent down in a couple of days, and I'd pretend to be local, you know. Oh, you wear your big win, you know.
For a couple more years, we must go short.
Are you kidding me?
Here's the ration for one book being readied. And there's your ration spread out in all its glory.
That's the lot.
Well, what am I supposed to do with that?
What you like. That's the lot.
You got a lot of love, a lot of affection, but not a lot of things.
I'll have a blue Christmas.
My birthday being 18th of December, which is a week before Christmas Day. I remember aunties, because they had a great sense of humor, they would send me a left sock for my birthday. And I get the right one for Christmas.
Snowflakes start falling.
You couldn't stuff yourself with sweets because it just wasn't there. Probably why we're still so skinny, the Stones, you know.
Candyman. Candyman.
You treasured your half an ounce of humbugs and a seed balls. But if it's not there, you don't miss it.
Happy days are here again.
The last thing to come off British rationing was sugar. 1954.
Happy days are here.
You couldn't get in the store, and everybody had been saving up pennies and stuff for like ages. So you'd go rushing around to every possible sweet shop in town. I got money, you know. But we're out. So it was kind of like rationing again for a few days. And then we scoffed, of course. Something, you want it. There's an automatic reaction in human beings that you say you can't do this, and then I gotta do it, you know.
Careful watch is kept on the children's teeth for any decay or irregularities, and when necessary, to attend the dental surgery.
All I want for Christmas is my two friends.
You couldn't scare me if you come to me with a gun. You couldn't scare me with a knife. But a dentist still scares me. They were pretty rough when we were growing up. They were all out of the army, you know, and it was just like a little whiff of gas. Mine were ripped out and I was wrenched. So it was sort of horrific. We used to live at the back of a greengrocer's store, you know, and they had these rotten tomatoes. A couple of mates and me, we just got into it, you know, and covered in it. We've covered the walls, we've covered the whole bloody garden in it. My God, his furious when I get back. She pretended to go out and make a phone call. She said, I'm calling for the man to take you away. And I lost it. I lost it. I'm on my knees, I'm shitting. Mom, I'm dying, you know.
It is sometimes a terrible thing to be a little boy.
At that moment, the idea of being separated and torn away and just like put in a home or something was like, lost it. And she kept at it for an hour. She said, wait till your dad gets home. It was the most horrific day of my life. Anything else I could take, you know, since. When Dad came home, he said, well, I've calmed her down. The man's not coming. I didn't throw no more tomatoes.
Now that you're 7, you'll be going to this school.
Because of the time of year I was born, I was always like in a class that was like a year older than me. So I was always 3 inches shorter than everybody else. So I always had to deal with like bigger boys. Half the time I ran away like yellow. And then I got smart and made friends with a big bloke who was lousy at geography, which I was pretty good at. So I would do his homework for him. And he'd walk home with me and beat these sods up. I know how terrifying it can be to expect a beating when you go out. It's on your mind all day. You couldn't concentrate on anything. All I could concentrate on was, how do I get out of taking a beating? How do I get home, you know? But you all gotta figure it out.
Where you been? Get inside.
Keith grazed his knee badly last night. Thank goodness for Germany.
Why is everybody always picking on me?
One day, son of a bitch came up to me, and he was the big boy in school. It was no particular, like, Bruce Lee sort of moves that made it. I was lucky. I think he slipped, and I just saw red. I just lost it. But I got him, you know, boom, and shoved his neck into the flower beds. After that, I was a protector of other, more vulnerable kids. I never capitalized on my fame on that, you know. I just took care of kids that were scared of other bullies and you're with me, you're cool. Because I suddenly became like, don't screw with that man, you know. I wasn't happy with my education, even as a kid. I thought it was shabby. I thought it was just going through the fucking motions. You had guys out in the army who just saw as a bunch of kids and whack, whack, whack. Just a bunch of people to push about. Left, right. Square bashing. Not exactly the most sympathetic people to learn things from. I always got C's and D's because they didn't like my attitude, you know. I just wanted to know more than I was being taught. And I found out far more by going to the public library. There ain't nobody teaching me nothing that I didn't know already. What do you want to do on your school holidays? Stay with your granddad. I seem to have been the only boy he didn't have. So in fact, to me, he was more like a friend than a grandfather. I loved him for his humor. He was just generous. Sometimes he just, like, take me out to get away from all the women. He was a saxophone player. But in the First World War, he got gas. My father says with his own oven. But anyway, he got gas and he couldn't blow anymore. You know, he didn't have the wind for the sax, so he took up violin. He could just pick up a violin and play a lovely bit of music. He had a dance band. He used to rock the US bases, you know, playing Turkey in the Straw and hoedown shit. I don't see him come home with a little neckerchief on, pretending to be a cowboy. He loved to perform. It's in the blood, I guess.
And when was the first time you saw live music?
I think probably at a wedding.
Now me and my wife went to town.
There was a live band playing, and you actually heard them doing it in front of you. It was always something that fascinated. I mean, it was like, first off, the guys are 3 feet taller than anybody because there's a stage. That helps, you know, I mean, yeah, just to be like 3 feet taller than anybody else. You know, it gives you a certain sense of possibilities.
Remember when you were a kid? You'd look in a shop window and look at the puppies.
Gus had a dog called Mr. Thompson. Actually, full name was Mr. Thompson Woofed. Because every time you said Mr. Thompson, the dog would go...
Life begins at Oxford Circus when the busy day is done. We don't care how much they work us, just as long as we have fun.
He just took me about London. One minute I'd be, you know, in Oxford Street, and the next minute Charing Cross Road, and the next minute we'd be in Highbury. It was an education, man. You know, to see the funniest thing on any street corner. So I know a lot about old London, you know, from just wandering about.
It's fun finding out about London town. Get around and about and turn it upside down.
My vision and my senses of London are coal tar and horseshit. Horseshit was worth money. My dad used to pay me threepence a bucket. Follow the gypsy carts. They were still burning coke and coal. Absolutely filthy. The whole place is covered in grime, is the actual word, I think. And a lot of fog, and the smog and everything was like, you know, green, amazing. That was London to me. Gus, you know, he'd take me into music shops, but we'd always go in around the back. We never went in the front door. It'd be like being led into Aladdin's cave. And he would just perch me on a shelf with a cup of tea and a biscuit. Glue is bubbling and they're sticking to the... And then he'd do his business, nefarious as it was. Once was a beautiful summer night, and we were on Primrose Hill, where you could look over the city. And we under this tree. Well, we just sit here for a minute, and we both crushed out. Woke up with dew all over us, and going, bloody hell, we better go home, boy. Gus teased me with the guitar. It always sat on top of his piano, but I couldn't reach it. You keep looking at that. It's beautiful. Well, when you can reach it, then you can try and play it. And he did this for, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 years, until one day I got smart and brought a chair up and took it down. Figured it out, right? And he showed me the first few notes of Malaguena. Da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. I had that down in like 10 minutes. When he came back, I'm playing to him Malaguena, and he looked down at me, a fucking smile on his face. Anytime you're here, play it. And then he let me have the guitar. To me, it was the prize of the century. My dad finally sprung for a TV just as independent television came out on 55, 6.
Here we go. Take it, Master Control.
Robin Hood was great.
Robin Hood, riding through.
Ronnie Wood, with his band of men.
With his band of men.
Everybody reacted to a billboard in your home. Buy this, buy that. Oh man, they were chucking it at you.
The Milky Bars are on me!
This is capitalism. Buy me. Suddenly it was staring you in the face. Massive consumption and wanty.
I want Cadbury.
No getty.
Don't forget the fruit gums, Mum.
Daz.
The Daz Fight Nights are coming your way with big cash prizes. Our first stop could be at your house. We're off.
Oh, wait, right?
Your mum was a washing machine demonstrator, right?
Hot point. She was amazing. Just logging off hot points. She'd do a demonstration, in the Corps, and I'd just get out of school and I go watch Mum's act, Yeah, we put the It was, a performance. She was a great mum. If Mum wasn't great, it must be a rough way to grow up, man.
But now I'm in the money and I've lots of LSD. I'm looking after my old mum as she looked after me. Oh, I ain't all proud of my old mum, and she ain't all proud of me.
You know, I'm almost grown.
Whoa, whoa.
Yeah, and I'm doing all right in school. They ain't said I broke no rules. I ain't never...
Dartford Tech was strictly male, yeah. I was good at subjects where the teacher was good. Carpentry class, yeah. Metalwork I hated. Sometimes they just get a hard-on against it.
Now take it nice and steady. Richards, what are you waiting for? Fetch it up closer. Don't get your fingers stuck in it.
Also, we all expected to go in the bloody army.
Hold on. Report.
Conscription was still on. You were all expected to go and peel potatoes in Aldershot. You had to factor that into your own life. 18, you went in the army.
Drill teaches you to obey words of command instinctively and without question. All orders must be obeyed without question at all times.
Ludicrous ways to get out of it.
Yes, sir! I'm left with back! Left right, above! Forward, march!
Pretend to be like gay or something, you know. So you're out.
The guy with the gay, leave me the guy with the gay.
Yes, well, Danny seems to be okay.
This is actually a friend of mine who said, I'm joining the Scouts. And I said, well, you know, I'll come along.
Follow me, boys, follow me. Pick 'em up, put 'em down and follow me.
I got all the nuts and I got badges all over me within like a month. I know how to light a fire. I could set you on fire right now. Also, you could have a sheath knife, and it was legal. And suddenly, I'm a patrol leader. Beaver Patrol. And that is where I realized that I could pull other cats into it. So I had a sense of leadership. I could motivate them, give them a feeling, because I desired things so much. I want, you know, if we're gonna do this, it's gotta be the best. It's part of running a band and being in a band. It was a transitional period, really. You know, I'd go home at night and play guitar. Our choir master, Jake Clare, he'd been at Oxford or Cambridge, but demoted to Dartford Tech. He was a damn good teacher about music, about singing. Spike, another guy called Terry, we had perfect sopranos. We could hallelujah with the best, man, you know. But we were also the biggest reprobates in school. Hey, we put our heart into it. I don't mind a good hymn. Yeah, hallelujah with the cassock and everything. Hey, did I look cute or what? You were part of this team, and you got to go to London and sing in all these different places. Believe it or not, I sang in front of the Queen. You know your voice is going to break, and you're looking like that. I still remember old Jake Clare, a tear in his eye, and leave at the fire. He says, you got to go. Such is life. Here's the pink slip. We'd won them all these goddamn medals and shields and stuff. And what do we get? The voice breaks, and you get put down a year. Because you haven't done enough math, you haven't done enough physics. So that's the thanks you get. Sitting in a class full of kids a year younger than you for another year was rough. And at that age, that's rough. That was the first thump of authority and like what they can do to you if they want. There you developed a hatred for the establishment. Deep hatred. This is where the rebel got born. You have to reassess, even at that age, a whole new way of dealing with society. That's when it started to ferment. Either you're going to do as you're told for the rest of your life, or you're going to break free of this. I'm getting out of here, one way or another. It could have gone criminal. Luckily, music saved me.
This is Radio Luxembourg, your station of the stars, broadcasting on 208 meters medium wave.
Radio Luxembourg, lousy signal, but if you positioned the damn thing in the right place, you'd suddenly get Little Richard. It expressed everything you wanted to express but didn't have the means to do it. A sense of freedom, a sense that there was another life between going to school and going to fucking work. It was like the world went Technicolor.
This motion picture was photographed in gorgeous, lifelike color by Deluxe. Gorgeous, lifelike color by Deluxe.
Before rock and roll, It was all black and white.
These boys have reached the stage of adolescence. We sometimes find adolescents rather irritating, that they're going through a difficult phase. They need tactful handling and a good deal of sympathetic guidance.
Suddenly, everything was aimed at teenagers. First time that money had realized what a market there was there. Before that, they didn't bother. You were either a kid or you were grown up. And there was this space in between seemed to be ignored. But in actual fact, it's probably the most important part of your life. Spike was my mate, and we just determined to get expelled. Cross country there, we used to take a smoke and work our way in for the last third of a mile and come in around a sort of comfy fifth. But they knew what we were up to. You know, we thought for sure you'd get expelled for like tripping up a teacher and like going whoops. I would be called to the headmaster's office. Well, Richards, good try. But no, it's not working, right. Yeah, we got to try something else. The first live act I remember going to see was Joe Brown.
No one else could catch me on the hop. Baby, you're the only one who ever made me blow my top.
Joe Brown and the Brothers. Joe Brown's a great guitar player. These cats were hot, man. And that's what you wanted to do. You wanted to be up there 3 feet higher than anybody else and have people say, yeah, I like that. We're still doing it. Tight pants, I'm straight in there. I used to wear 2 pairs of trousers to school. Yeah, very uncomfortable all day, I tell you. But one, skin tight. And then the regulation flannel baggies over the top. You know, the minute you got out the school gate, you got behind a tree, and there, so you could walk home like. We went to beating up teachers. And for that, they did expel us. Eventually, we made it. As to my dad, being expelled was like about the worst thing that could happen in a man's life. I just gave him a piece of paper and hoped for the best. I knew I disappointed him very, very much. You know, it was rough. I had to redeem myself. My voice broke and I was no longer in the choir. I suddenly needed another musical outlet. And I plunged into that, like diving, deep dive. At the same time, they threw me the biscuit, which was like the big one. You're expelled, but you're welcome to go to art school.
Went to college, studied art. To be an artist, make a start. Studied hard, gained my degree, but no one seemed to notice me.
Art school was a real eye-opener because suddenly with people artistic in mind, some of us good, some of us lousy, It was a totally different atmosphere, and in those 2-3 years, I grew up. There was a freedom about art school that was, to me, mind-blowing. It was like night and day, man. Suddenly, you can wear whatever you want, and you can, like, go to life class and draw nude ladies. Jesus Christ, can't you find a better model? Painting, I wouldn't say came into it much. I did realize after the first year, we're not churning out Leonardo da Vinci's here. You're being taught how to advertise.
Here was where the money lay. Classic artists had its day.
You can call it art school, but really you're being trained how to flog something you don't really need, how to put a nice angle on the gym.
Morning, people. How's it going?
There's a bunch of people that came from advertising agencies for like 1 day a week, usually loudmouth.
Mac, could you emphasize the last word just a little? Bring out the fact that the product is good.
Guys with bow ties and shit, you know, and white collar and striped blue shirt. By then, you're starting to be able to sense a phony when you see one.
Mac, don't lose that nice, easy approach.
You know, and you realize that these people are only there to pick up a little paycheck.
Okay, got it. Fantastic. A really first-class reading. Nothing harsh, a nice soft sell. There's just one thing, though.
What I did learn was about friendship. I'd made a lot of good friends there. How to get along with people. A couple of girlfriends, too.
We believe that life is immediate. The future does not exist.
Oh, how do you do? Very pleased to make your acquaintance, madam.
I beg your pardon?
She taught me to yodel, yodel.
Everybody was experimenting with their looks.
She taught me to yodel, yodel,
I do remember that day, they just pulled the button and said no more conscription. Mayhem in the classroom, bananas the whole day. Suddenly, these years opened up for you. A sense of relief that, you know, is really hard to imagine. Art school. It was a hotbed for music. You could get away with it. If you didn't want to go to life classes, you know, you could go to the Belg and play guitar. Whiz Jones used to come round and play, you know, which was like a miracle. And other cats. There was a sort of network within the art school world. A lot of good musicians came out of art school, but not many good artists. I knew that the music that I had always listened to was black people. Black music is essential.
Well, it feels so good. I've got the boogie in my bones.
Bring in some more, come on.
Well, it feels so good. I've got the boogie in my bones.
Black people would be like, hey, you're a right brother, you know what I mean, boom.
Keep me jumping all the time.
Africa. We all come from Africa, originally. Blues is the fountain. Without a knowledge of the blues, if you want to be a player, and if you want to work with other guys, but without that knowledge and without that enthusiasm, you just become a pop star or something. blues and the older cats, and they started to research, back to Muddy Waters, Robert Johnson, Blind Lemon Jefferson, cats like that. And of course, being young, people try and come up with more obscure blues than you've ever heard.
I thought, yeah, she gave me.
This was from 1926. Very nice. The white noise.
Hold it. Shh. Quiet.
There was Kim this and Brian that. I was down on some of its pretentiousness. Because I always hoped the music should be classless and should be accepted for what it is. There was a feeling, late 50s, early 60s, that there was a change coming. Harold Macmillan actually said it, but he didn't mean it in quite that way, you know. The winds of change and all that. He might have felt it too, but from a different angle. I certainly felt that my generation and what was happening and the feeling in the air was, it's time to push. The world is ours now. We can rise or fall on it. After 3 years at art school, I take this bloody portfolio up J. Walter Thompson's. My one attempt to get a job.
Partly Harrison.
By then I was into music. I wasn't interested anymore in illustration or painting or advertising. My portfolio was a piece of crap, quite honestly. They look at it and they're sniggering all over it. But by the way, Mr. Richards, can you make a good cup of tea? And that's where the hair went up. And I said, yeah, I can, but not for you. And I just walked out and threw the fucking whole thing in the rubbish bin downstairs. And that's it. The guitar just looked at me, and I looked at it, and I said, either you and me get along, or I've got to really look for another job. That's how I met Mick. He was on the train with the records. I'm looking at this guy, and I know you. But what you've got under your arm is worth robbing.
Pleased to meet you. Hope you guessed my name.
It's only the fact that he was carrying Muddy Waters and Chuck Berry under his arm that we rehooked, you know, because I've known Mick since he was about 4 years old. But we don't talk about that a lot.